Well, flooding and heavy rains are wreaking havoc in KwaZulu Natal. At least 10 people are missing and 2 people died over the weekend in KwaMashu and Umlazi as a result of the floods. Teams from the eThekwini Emergency Services are already on the ground assessing the impact. eNCA senior reporter Dasen Thathiahhas is covering that story for us. Let's join him live now on the ground in a very rainy and wet Durban. Dasen, I mean, when we spoke to you earlier on, I mean, things look really hectic for those rescue personnel there. What's changed and what's the situation like at the moment?
Well, look, it's still as busy as it was earlier on, in fact, if not more so. What's now complicating things, I'm sure you can see through this shot. I'll move out as well so that you can get a sense of where I am. The rain is starting to come down even harder than it was before. I'm currently standing on North Coast Road. This is one of the main roads in the Durban North area that leads to the N2, to the freeway. So what you should be seeing in shot now is a complete flooding of this road. This now prevents access to the freeway going into the direction of Pietermaritzburg as well as to the direction of Umhlanga. There's an interchange further down the road here. You should also be seeing that there are vehicles that didn't make it through. There's a bakkie off to the right. There was a lady that I spoke to a short while ago who was also quite distressed. She's been here for about 2 hours and she says that her Jaguar that she was driving earlier on got stuck in this water, because you really can't see the extent of it when you look at it just at the surface level, but it is quite deep. There's a taxi further down. That driver also telling us that he'd been stuck here for a couple hours. There are attempts. In fact, there's a tow truck off to my left now trying to recover some of these vehicles, but even that is going to be quite a task. While we were just standing here a short while ago, I was just getting out of the vehicle. In fact, there was a Toyota Etios that raced past me. When he got to about the point of where you're seeing that tow truck now, yeah, he struck something and lost his front bumper, and he was almost completely submerged. So the situation is dire. Right now, I'm here. There are no authorities, and it's almost understandably so, considering how stretched they are at this point.
I'm suspecting this, and that when we open up newspapers tomorrow morning, and you know, once we have a reconciling of what happened overnight, you're going to see a few more number of people either missing, or you know, unfortunately, you might even see some fatalities. I noticed, speaking with the emergency personnel, you were doing that a little earlier, and they say that they've got to attend to a number of places this evening, but the problem is unnecessary driving. That must be a headache for some of these personnel.
And this is it. And, you know, in fact, the numbers are climbing. It's hard to consolidate those or collate them at this point because there are so many incidents. I mean, even in speaking to Paul Herbst earlier from Medi Response, he was talking about just a significant band on the north coast that he was dealing with. There are other areas to the south that have been just as badly affected. They were near building collapses. There are blocks that had to be completely evacuated to ensure that families got to safety. You know, the call here from the municipality is that people need to move out of low-lying areas. They have to get to places of safety. But equally, there are concerns now about how do you do that? For some people, they don't have that option. They don't have the opportunity to go to family or to rent a place elsewhere. This is all they have. So that's the difficulty that even emergency services is facing, where it's not necessarily a case of people being stubborn and not going. It's that they sometimes don't have anywhere else to go. For others that are here, like at the moment, you're seeing some vehicles that are parked off on the side of the road. These are people that were just commuting, either going home from work or heading to other places and got caught up in the storm, and now are in a position where they are trapped between portions of the road that are flooded. So right now, it's a situation of disaster management teams trying to reach as many people as possible. But the call, the very clear call right now, is if you can stay indoors, do so. You should not travel under any circumstances unless it's a significant emergency.
Well, absolutely, Dasen. Just a case in point of what you were talking about, stranded people. I mean, I noticed on social media as well a few pictures of some informal settlements around the Umhloti River, which is probably not very far from where you are. Any idea on that and perhaps other areas where you find settlements around or alongside the river? That might be a bit painful this evening, isn't it?
That's right. So those are areas of concern. The video that you're talking about that was circulated, and forgive me if I missed part of the question. The rain is pounding on my head here, so I'm missing a bit of that. But the situation in Umlazi was relating to an apartment block, and that was an evacuation that had taken place. That took the teams, the emergency services personnel, a significant amount of time, but they did manage to get that sorted out. And the issue there was that the water was flooding in, and some of the structure was starting to break, which now posed a risk to those that were inside. The other side of this is the houses that are in areas that are quite dangerous to be in. I mean, we received a report from the municipality saying that areas such as Umlazi and Lamontville, other areas in Amaoti, these were areas that were flooded in these low-lying areas. Now, what's worse, Devin, is that beyond the rain that you're seeing now and the rain pelting down and bringing down some of these structures, we've already seen those as well in areas like Marion Ridge. The other problem now is that once the ground is this heavily saturated, who knows what could happen tomorrow, because we've seen that in the past. I'm standing here and I'm just thinking to myself that the last time I saw rain as bad as this was that superstorm that we had in about 2017. And many people in Durban sharing the same sentiments right now.
Yeah, well, we wish you all the safety there, Dasen. Please do take care. That's our senior reporter, Dasen Thathiahhas, there in Durban, in a very wet and what seems to be a very, very difficult situation for motorists and many of the stranded people who are experiencing that heavy downpours at the moment.